Welcome to Spam Filter for Your Brain, bite-sized ponderings on how our thoughts influence our behaviour in our lives, and because we're all connected, how our thoughts impact the world. I'm here to help people reconnect with their bodies and declutter their brains. And I don't believe that we should just magically know how our emotions and our thoughts impact our lives if no one ever teaches us. So let's learn this stuff together. This is something that I find myself telling people on coaching calls and in self-care school all the time. And I thought I'd also share it with you, lovely listeners of the podcast. And this is that it is perfectly natural and very, very human to be worried about being rejected. I think for the majority of the coaching calls that I do, if I were to shove a stake through the middle of all of the layers of different thoughts and judgment and emotions that we have about the stuff that's going on in our life, quite often at the core of it is the fear of being rejected. And I just want to normalise that and let you know that if you are someone who walks around worrying what other people think, or worrying how you're going to be perceived, or worrying about not getting things right, secret spoiler there, you're worried about not getting them right because you're worried about how you'll treat yourself, which is rejection, or you're worried about what other people will think of you, which is rejection, or you're worried about not fitting in, which is rejection. There's a lot of fear of rejection going on out here. If we identify this fear that we're not going to get on in the world, we're not going to fit in, we're not going to be seen to be doing the right thing, we're constantly rejecting ourselves. This is something that we have hardwired into our very cells. It is the essence of our being. If you think back to the people who lived in caves, or all of the hundreds and thousands and billions of years that it has taken to make you, your cells, your very DNA, is made up of all of the frightened people. Because the people who were a little bit adventurous, a little bit curious, who might have, gone outside the cave to see if that saber-toothed tiger was kind of cuddly, actually, or the people who went along and had nice exotic tastes and wanted to taste all of the berries, not just the ones that everyone else in their little group dwelling were eating. Maybe they wanted to eat some of the poisonous ones as well. Or maybe if they came across some other humans or early beasties that were throwing rocks at them, maybe they might have gone, oh, I wonder if those rocks are squidgy. All of the people who were, quite wild and full of all of the things that we revere in today's society, bold and brave and daring and courageous, they sort of fell off cliffs and got eaten by tigers and died of poisonous things and wondered if fire tasted as nice as it looked. Maybe I could stroke that pretty dancey flame. All of the adventurous people, the ones who are bold and brave, they're dead now. And all of the people who ran the hell away every time something got a little bit scary, they are the people who managed to become your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. The frightened people did not. They wrapped themselves in poisonous bushes and went to go and see if they could saddle up a crocodile. They are not the people who made it into your genetic heritage. So when we realise that we come from a long, long line of the people who ran the hell away, the people who stayed in the cave and didn't go and work out what that big flashy bolt of lightning was, or the people who didn't get lured out into the trap of the delicious dinner and the gold by the pirates, whatever your personal genetic history story is, and there's going to be some wild mixes in there. The people who stayed at home and did the least possible, they are the ones who got to make you. And so when you're giving yourself a bit of a hard time for why you can rationally know that you shouldn't be worried about that thing, maybe it's worth looking back into our histories and going, oh, wow, I'm actually hardwired for this stuff. This is literally in the very data that makes me. And knowing that we are the product of all of the frightened people put together makes more sense when we know that the fear center of our brain is like the oldest bit. It hasn't done that much evolving. Your brain doesn't know whether that thing that is frightening you is whether no one's going to come to your birthday party, or whether it is, in fact, that a Tyrannosaurus is running after you. Whatever response your body is having is linked back to that oldest possible survival strategy, because your brain would rather be wrong 99% of the time and you be alive, rather than taking a little bit of a dabble of a chance and it failing at the one job that it has, which is to keep you alive. Your brain's one job is to keep you safe, well and breathing. And frankly, not on that CV list is being your friend. So when it can feel like your brain might be against you sometimes, I wonder if it's worth a little reframe and thinking, there it goes, trying to keep me alive again. I see what's going on there. Because this fear stuff is all rooted in having your best interests at heart. And it is not a personal failing. It isn't that you don't have the strength, the courage, or the tenacity that you need to get to the next level of you. It's just we've been programmed this way. And sometimes that fear is so deep-rooted that we are not able to access any of the other parts past it when we're triggered. In self-care school, it's one of the things I teach, to be able to stop trying to avoid all of the fear, so you can maybe expand your definition of what your fear tolerance is, and to be able to realise that actually running away from fear makes it bigger. And when we're ready to sit with it a little bit and experience some of those sensations in our body that we'd call fear, then it starts to dissipate really quickly. And then we can start bringing the rest of our brain back online, and we can start linking into some of the things that we want and rationally know. You can't access any of that stuff when your fear center is acting like a roadblock with all of the barriers and the alarms that come with it. And that fear center is also triggered by you telling yourself that this is a personal failing. What your brain receives there is the message that you're getting it wrong, that you are wrong, you're doing the wrong thing, and it will tell you that's dangerous. So adding more compassion into your life enables you to bring more logic, more values, more of your personality into the mix, rather than just having this reflex of shit, I need to protect myself. And from there you can start to build and orientate yourself to more of what you want in life, rather than just trying to run away from the things you don't want. So maybe it's normal to be frightened, and also maybe that doesn't have to be the only way. If you'd like to learn how to do some of this stuff, I'd love to see you over at Self-Care School, and here's a little splendid little trailer telling you more about it. I'll see you next week. If you've been enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast, you will love Self-Care School. Self-Care School is longer versions of this, more in-depth and more personalised. We have a whole hub of courses, from body image to boundaries, perfectionism, time management, and a whole range of other topics. You name it, there's probably a course on it. But most importantly, we also have a weekly group coaching call where you get to apply this stuff to your everyday life and get support to try and untangle your own story from some of the emotions that you might not be enjoying in your life. If you would like to learn how to apply this work to your specific situation and to be building a life of your dreams, I would love to see you inside. Do pop over to selfcareschool.co.uk.